His plantation, bad news again caught up with Houston, once again from Goliad. Houston learned that on March 27th, Palm Sunday, Fannon's troops had been marched out of town. The men went quietly, thinking they were being released. But in fact, there were other plans. General Urrea and his troops were outraged at Santa Anna's orders. He carried them out. Fannin and all but a handful of his men were massacred in cold blood. The execution broke all Mexican codes of military honor, and 350 more martyrs joined the men from the Alamo. Meanwhile, Santa Anna had reached the river crossing at Richmond. Although he knew that Houston's army was upriver, he elected to go just 30 miles away at Harrisburg. In particular, Santa Anna wanted to capture Vice President Lorenzo de Zavala, a former Mexican cabinet member and minister to France. Santa Anna felt he had the Texans on the run, and he was eager to put an end to the whole cold and miserable campaign. On April 14th, he made a fatal mistake. Taking only 750 men, he pushed well ahead of his main forces. Houston, meanwhile, was training and reorganizing his men. Across the river from Grosses, they had time to rest and room to practice maneuvers. Better still, 2 small cannon, nicknamed the Twin Sisters, arrived as they were leaving Grosses, a gift from the people of Cincinnati. But Houston's reluctance to fight was gnawing at his men. Open mutiny was a pistol shot away. Worse yet, he stubbornly refused to discuss his plans. On the evening of April 13th, they left Grosses and continued east, the men barely under his control. 3 days later, they reached a fateful fork in the road. A turn left would mean still another retreat. Turn right, Fort Harrisburg would indicate that the long-awaited battle was at hand. And so the Texas Army set out upon the right-hand road. Santa Anna was also on the move. On April 15th, he reached Harrisburg at 10 o'clock at night. The Texas government had left by steamboat at noon the same day. Furious, Santa Anna ordered the town burned to the ground. On the 17th, Mexican dragoons again came within a hair's breadth of capturing key members of the Texas government as it retreated from New Washington. But the Mexican commander, Colonel Juan Almonte, chivalrously ordered his troops to hold their fire when he spied President Burnett's wife in the fleeing boat. On the 18th, Santa Anna reached New Washington, while the Texas Army camped on the north side of Buffalo Bayou across from Harrisburg. There, Texas scouts intercepted a Mexican messenger with dispatches for Santa Anna. The Texans learned that Santa Anna was about to leave for Lynch's Ferry with less than 1,000 troops. This was the chance Houston had been waiting for, as even as the odds would ever be. He gathered his men together and delivered a stirring speech.
The victims of the Alamo, and the names of those who were murdered at Goliad, cry out for vengeance.
On the 19th, the Texas Army took the road to Lynchburg. They marched all night, and just after dawn on the 20th, they took possession of Lynch's Ferry. At 8 o'clock that same morning, Santa Anna put the torch to New Washington and set off on the road to San Jacinto. Noticing increased Mexican scout activity, the Texans countermarched about a mile and occupied a dense wood. Behind them curved Buffalo Bayou. In front of them lay a peaceful prairie, a mile of grass as high as a man's knees. Hidden in a dense grove of oak trees, they waited. And shortly after noon, Santa Anna arrived. Santa Anna orders the lead company to drop its packs in place along the road. Forming a skirmish line, they move forward, probing the Texas position. The Mexicans fall back as the two sides exchange cannon fire. Sidney Sherman leads the Texas cavalry in an attempt to capture the Mexican gun. Santa Anna orders 3 companies of infantry out in support. The Texans fall back into their camp. The skirmish ends as quickly as it began. Sam Houston still isn't ready to fight, but the Texas soldiers are eager for battle. They're defending their homeland and their families. Ever since joining the army, they've been retreating. They know that Santa Anna has killed or massacred every Texan unit he's met. Do not leave it at all. Against the advice of his officers, Santa Anna abandons the high ground and selects a campsite on a reverse slope with his back to the water.
Where is Buffalo Bayou?
The Texas Army is camped on the opposite side of the
How far from
field,
here?
about a mile away.
It goes through.
The trees, tall grass,
Have you been?
and a distinct rise of land keep the two armies hidden from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Darkness falls. Santa Anna works his troops through the night, building breastwork barricades from pack saddles and supply boxes. Houston sleeps soundly, well past dawn. April 21st, 1836, 9 a.m. After an all-night march, General Cos reaches the Mexican camp with 500 men. Santa Anna's force is now about 1,250. The Texans number about 900. 10 a.m. Houston details Erastus Deaf Smith, his most trusted scout, to destroy Vince's bridge, delaying further Mexican reinforcements. 12 noon. Houston holds a council of war. For the first time, he asks for advice.
Shall we attack the enemy in position, or receive their attack in ours?
Surprisingly, most of the officers vote against an immediate attack. Houston says nothing. With no sign of enemy activity, Santa Anna tells the cavalry to water their horses and rest. Cos's men are asleep, their muskets stacked. In the ultimate display of arrogance, no sentries are posted. 3:30. Houston's order comes, at last.
Parade and prepare for action!
The men fall in. On the Texans' extreme right is the cavalry under Mirabeau B. Lamar, a future president of the Republic. Next to them, Henry Millard's infantry, known as the Regulars. To their left and slightly ahead, the artillery, with the twin sisters under George W. Hockley. Next to the cannoneers is Edward Burleson's 1st Regiment. And on the Texans' far left is the 2nd Regiment under Sidney Sherman's command, with the 9th Company made up entirely of Mexican Texans under Captain Juan Seguin. Across the prairie, the Mexican camp is enjoying a quiet afternoon. Santa Anna is in his tent.